Found out, yeah, it's a game you want to compete against yourself, and I found out I'm not a very good competitor. So I gave it up. I just don't have the uh, patience for it, I guess. Yeah.
What's your weather like there in Washington? It's cloudy and dreary here today.
It is sunny and hot, although we are supposed to get some rain
Yeah.
today. And of course, it's raining cicadas here too. So,
Oh, we
yeah,
haven't had that issue because we have very little grass. It's mostly pine straw.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They are everywhere. It is. The sound is incredible too. It is almost deafening when you're taking a walk. They're so loud.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Do want to let everybody know my colleague Ken is here, and he can help you out with any issues you might be having with Zoom. Anything that you need help with, just drop that in the chat, and he will give you a hand with that. And I'm going to give it. Well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and get us started. We are at 9:04. There may be a couple of people coming in late, but welcome. Glad to see you all here on a Monday morning. And let me get us started. Okay. All right. So welcome to Google Photos Basics. This is actually one of two classes we teach on Google Photos. There is a second one on what's called Google Photos Part 2, and it walks you through all the different kinds of ways that you can manage your photos once they're uploaded onto this platform. But today we're just going to be talking about getting an account set up and just some basics around that. So a little bit about me. I live in Silver Spring, Maryland, and that is in the Washington, D.C. area. I'm a former journalist, and in my previous job, I was a communications director and led a lot of website development and social media outreach, and also used a lot of Google apps. And I'm also an avid photographer, and I do back up my photos on Google Photos as well as on a couple of other platforms. Uh, and I really love being here on Get Set Up. I enjoy the interactive learning, the community we're building, meeting new people, and also seeing some familiar faces in each of my classes. Whoops. And we are here to help you learn useful skills from people like you, people who are, all of our guides are older adults. We've also faced many of the same learning curves with technology. So it's a very comfortable peer-to-peer approach that we take. We learn from each other. It's great if we can see each other on camera. It helps build that social connection. So if you are comfortable with being on camera, we'd love to see you. We are recording this class. So we do that with all of our classes. We do that for quality control purposes mainly. But if you would like a recording, we do make that available to you on demand. You just need to email us at help@getsetup.io. And we are live streaming today too. So if you are joining us by live stream, welcome. Happy to have you following along. I would encourage you in the future to actually register for a class, and then you can interact live with the guide and the other learners, ask questions directly, and so forth. And lastly, Get Setup isn't paid to promote any specific products or services. So this is not meant to be an advertisement or endorsement for Google. It's just one tool that we teach some classes on related to photo backup. We also have classes on Amazon Photos and the iCloud in terms of storing your photos. So this class tends to generate quite a few questions, and I want to make sure I get through the material so everybody at least gets the basics down. So if you could please stay on mute during the presentation, that would be a big help, and limit questions to the chat during the presentation. Ideally, we'll have some time to open it up for some Q&A, but I do want to make sure I get through all the material so that everybody has a good experience. And also just need to emphasize this class is a general tutorial on using the app. Some people have some very individual or unique needs and preferences that I will not have time to go over, but I'm hoping that I will give you a foundation so that you can start exploring all the things you can do with this app. All that said, if there is something that you really are interested in learning about today, please drop that in the chat, and I will work on addressing that as we go through the material today. So what we're going to talk about is setting up a Google Photos account for those of you who don't have one yet. And then we'll talk about selecting a storage plan for your photo collection. And this one is a little bit confusing because Google recently changed its policy on free storage. So I'm going to explain that. And then we'll talk about accessing your account on any internet connected device. So to get started, I want to make sure we understand cloud storage, because Google Photos is a cloud app and it's one of many that Google offers. So when we think about the cloud, that term gets bandied about a lot. And I've had some people mention that they really don't understand what that is. So really, you can just think of the cloud as the internet. And so when you are talking about storing things in the cloud, you're talking about basically setting up your own, I like to call it a digital storage warehouse in the sky. So you have your own account or your own storage warehouse, and you have the key in the form, in the form of a username and password to your account. Okay. So what cloud storage does is allow you to back up your digital data onto the internet for safekeeping. So it will allow you to sync with your devices so you can always access and download any data that you've stored, if that makes sense. So, okay. So when we talk about Google, Google offers many cloud-based apps and services. It's all kind of under the umbrella of a brand they call Google One. But if you've got a Google account, your Gmail can be backed up to the cloud if you want. You can back up your calendar data if you're using Google Calendars. There is Google Drive, which is a place to store or back up documents that you want to make sure you don't lose, things like that. Where these really come in handy is if you are backing things up from your computer or from your phone, and something happens to one of those, say your computer just completely crashes, or your phone breaks or is stolen or is lost, that data is still in the cloud. So once you get your replacement device, all of that is still there and you can just grab it again. So it's sort of a safety mechanism for you. Google Photos is another one of the cloud apps that Google offers. And this is the symbol you'll see once you download the app, if you haven't done that already. Some people get this confused with the Apple Photos app, and that will be distinguished by the number of petals here. The Apple Photos app is more of a big multi-petaled flower. This is just these 4 multicolored petals here. Okay, so what Google Photos does, it allows you to securely and automatically store copies of your photos online as backup. Doesn't have to be automatic if you don't want to, but you can set it up to automatically back up and sync on your mobile device any picture you're taking. You just need to have the Google Photos mobile app downloaded to your smartphone or your tablet. If you're using an iPad or another type of tablet, you can have it set up there. Anything you take with those devices can be automatically backed up. You can also do it on an individual basis if you'd rather go that route. And then you can, once that mobile app is downloaded, you can access your photos even on your laptop just by going to the Google website, google.com, logging into your account and looking at your photos. So to get started, you sign up for a Google account. If you don't have one, that's very easy to do. You just go to google.com and you'll be able to sign up using any email you want. A lot of people think you have to have a Gmail account, but you do not. You can sign up for a Google account using Yahoo or Outlook or any other kind of email you're using. Then you'll download the Google Photos mobile app to your smart device. That is a free app, and you are able to download that from the Google Play Store if you're using an Android device, and from the Apple App Store. And then you just activate it, and you can activate it to back up and sync on the app to have it automatically back up your photos. So let's take a look at what that's going to look like. Using your smartphone. I'm going to share my my smartphone screen here. Okay. And it's a little bit delayed. Okay, there we go. Okay, so when I open up the app, and here is what you'll see when you open it up, or when you're looking for it on your home screen. You open that up, and here is where I see all the photos that are sitting on my phone. Here is where I look at my account. It's this little initial that probably will be your initial up in the corner here. That's how you get into your account settings. So I'm going to open that up, and I will go down to Google Photo Settings. And if I want to have this automatically backing up and syncing all my photos, I can go here. And I just want to make sure that backup and sync is turned on. And once that is turned on, everything that I want to back up is, or anything that I want to back up is automatically going to do that once I take a picture on my phone. And you'll see here, it will show you just how much space you have. I have 15 gigabytes right now that I'm getting. Google offers that for free. I'll get a little bit more into the storage plans, but I'm about 40% full there. One other thing that it's going to show you here is it's talking about your the storage. And when you go to upload size, I'm going to get into this in a little more detail, but you have a couple of options here. One is to get the original quality backing up into the cloud, which will allow you to keep the photos as you've taken them, no matter how high resolution they are. A storage saver, on the other hand, is going to allow you to sort of have the photo compressed as it's backed up. It'll be a slightly reduced quality, but it will still be a suitable quality for sharing and even printing in some cases, but it will save space. The other thing, if you don't want to have that backup and sync on, you can upload individual photos one by one. So let's say I'm going to go down here, and you'll see this little cloud symbol. So let's take this photo. This is one of the many cicadas that have been invading us here in the mid-Atlantic, but I'm going to go up here to the little cloud. And I am going to click on, just press my thumb on that, and it will upload to my account. So if I don't want the automatic backup and sync, I can do it that way on Google Photos. Okay. And that is the basic setup. Going to stop there real quickly to see what questions we have in the chat. If there are some photos in an album that do not belong there, how do you move them? Okay, I'm going to get into that a little bit more. That one I covered, Kathleen, in the Google Photos Part 2 when we're talking about albums and things like that. If I do have time toward the end, I can touch on that. But that one is a big part of Google Photos Part 2 when I talk about albums and managing that.
Which you will be doing at some time soon?
Yeah, it will be on Wednesday.
Oh,
Wednesday at 11 a.m. Yeah.
thank you.
Mhm. Okay. So from there, once you have everything set to go on the backup, let's talk a little bit more about that original quality that I was talking about, that upload size, when you have that option to choose which route you want to go. Original quality will be the photo as it was actually shot. So if you have a photo that you've taken and it is, say, 64 megapixels, it's going to back up at that amount. And we'll talk a little bit more about megapixels, things like that in a second. But the high quality, that is when the original photo, and they're calling it storage saver. They've just changed that, but they had been calling it high quality. That means that the original photo is compressed as it uploads, so it takes up less space. So that's what they mean by storage saver. So what they do offer you in their storage plans is you do get 15 gigabytes of space for free. That is one of the more generous among all of the photo backup apps out there. If you're using an iPhone, for example, on the iCloud, you only get about 5 gigabytes for free before you have to go into a paid storage plan. Now, the one thing to keep in mind with all of these, when we're looking at these different storage plans, is that applies to all of the Google apps that you're using to back up data. So if you are also backing up, say, your calendar data, your Gmail, if you're using Google Drive, all of that, Google tracks all of that and will apply that all to that 15 gigabytes. That said, photos tend to take up the most, photos and video tend to take up the most space. So 15 gigabytes, if you're not really backing up much of anything else, or just very little in terms of documents or anything like that, that's going to give you space for about 5,000 photos, which is not bad, but it's easy to hit that limit pretty quickly. For $20 a year, you can get 100 gigabytes of storage space, and that will hold anywhere from 30 to 35,000 photos, give or take. And again, if you're using that compressed plan or the storage saver, it's going to be even more that you can save. And $40 a year will double that. You can store up to 60 to 65,000, maybe even 70,000 photos. And for $120 a year, if you really need that, you can get 2 terabytes worth of storage space. That would probably be more appropriate for people who are storing not only photos, but massive amounts of data, documents that they want to keep, calendar data, all kinds of things. But $120 a year is probably not something you're going to run into unless you are using Google to back up everything on your computer. Now, one thing, if you have been using Google Photos that you may have run into, you may have gotten an email about this, but for a long time, Google was offering unlimited free storage if you were using that storage saver, where they were cutting things down to the high quality photos. They ended that as of June 1st. So now any photos that you are backing up or uploading to your account, only the new photos since June 1st, regardless of the quality, even if you're using the reduced quality or high quality, as they say it, it will count toward your storage limit. But any high quality or compressed photos that you already stored before June 1st won't count toward that limit. So if you had been backing up using that option before, you're good for now. It's only applying to what you're uploading since June 1st. And that one has been confusing for some people, so we'll make sure to have some time to talk about that a little more. So when we're talking about those storage options, original versus high quality, or now they're saying storage saver. I just saw that storage saver label this morning, so I'm going to update that on these slides for future classes. But we're essentially talking about the megapixels in a picture. So a pixel is a small square of data like this. It's comparable to, if you remember learning about how newspapers are printed or magazines. It's all these little tiny dots of ink that make up an image. Kind of the same idea here, except they're these little squares of data. So a megapixel is 1,000,000 pixels. So if you are backing up a 20 megapixel picture, it has roughly 20 million tiny squares of data like this. And those are what make up the image. So the higher the megapixel count, the higher the resolution of the photo. It's going to be a higher quality photo, essentially, but it's also going to take up more space because essentially there's more data there. So what happens is, if you are backing up an original quality photo, as it's being backed up into the cloud, here's the photo, it goes up to Google Photos, and it's going to be exactly the same. So you are essentially saving preserving all of the quality of that photo as it's being backed up. If you go with this lower, well, it's high quality or storage saver, as they're calling it now, a 20 megapixel picture will be reduced to 16 megapixels. That takes up less storage space. So a good way of looking at it is like this. You'll notice that this doesn't have quite the amount of richness that this photo does. So what you'll see here as an example is the difference. Here is an original quality photo. If you're going with that option, as this is being backed up, it's going to stay like this. Very nice, sharp photo. This is the storage saver, or high quality, as they used to call it. And it is not quite as rich. The resolution isn't quite as smooth, little grainier. So a lot depends on how the photo was originally shot and how much you're sacrificing. It's not a big problem for me because I'm backing up from my iPhone. My iPhone only takes pictures at 12 megapixels. So I'm under that 16 megapixel limit anyway for the storage saver. So it's not a problem for me. But if you've got an Android phone, a lot of the Androids are, I know some of the Samsung phones are taking pictures at up to 100 megapixels, which is just amazing to me. And so if you're taking a picture at that level, you're going to notice some quality reduction when it's being backed up if you're using that storage saver. So just something to think about as you're making your choice. Once those are backed up that way, they're going to stay there in your account in that reduced quality format. You would have to delete all those and back them up in the high quality or the original quality if you want to go that route, if you change your mind, so to speak. Okay. So from there, what I wanted to do was get through all that. I want to open it up to questions. We can now, if you'd like to unmute, I'm happy to answer what questions I can. So feel free to let me know what I can tell you.
Scott, once you you sign up for the Google app for pictures,
Yeah.
and it's downloading your pictures at 12. You said at 12 megapixels.
Its limit, if you're going with that storage saver, would be 16 megapixels.
16 megapixels.
Yeah.
But when they send it back to you, or if you want to copy it, is it stuck at that 16 megapixels? I mean, it doesn't go back to its original. If it was 20 megapixels, it doesn't go back to the.
No, it'll stay. What's stored there would be, if you wanted to retrieve that later, it would be at that 16 megapixels. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So now you can change that at any time, but I have never tried that. I don't know what I should try to do that once. I don't know whether it would back up all the original quality as duplicates. I know Kathleen, you had asked about that before, and I've been looking a little bit more into that. And a lot of people have asked about this, what to do about duplicate photos. And the algorithm in there in the Google Photos app is supposed to, and they purport to dedupe automatically. So you should not be seeing duplicates backing up. The issue is it doesn't take much to throw that off. I started looking a little bit more into that, and the slightest change, this gets into some of the metadata, which I cover a lot more in Google Photos Part 2, but some of the digital information that's stored in the photo, if that is thrown off in the slightest, it might duplicate the photo because it's reading it as a different photo, even though it's the same. One way that happens is if you edit a photo, especially if you're using another app. Say I use some Photoshop mobile apps and I might edit a photo. Even if I edit it slightly, it is saving it under a different file name. And so it will back up. It'll look like a duplicate. It technically, in terms of Google's definition, is not. It's a separate photo. But if you're doing a lot of editing of your photos, you may find that you're seeing a lot of the same photos turning up more than once. It's seeing them as different. So that's why you may see some duplicates. So that is where you have to go in and kind of, they don't really have a good way of just automatically purging those duplicates that you might catch. You just have to kind of go through and identify them and then delete them.
When you're sorting to see if there are duplicates, is there a better way to sort that brings up all of the same photos?
Not that I can think of. About the best way to do it would be to maybe do a search in the app for different categories. And there is a lot of artificial intelligence built into the app so that it's automatically tagging. It's recognizing things in the photo and tagging them as such. So if you want to go and look at, say, you can search by date, you can search by say a category like flowers or something like that, and identify them that way just to narrow down your search. But that's about the best. There are, and I'm thinking about looking into creating a class on this. There are some apps out there that actually, I think, can link up to your Google Photos account and identify the duplicates for you so that you can do that. It's not built into Google Photos though. So it would have to be something that you'd have to add on.
That would be good. I've heard lots of questions about duplicates and lots of comments about Google Photos. Plus, it would be good to know sorting. So
Yeah.
anyway, hope you do that. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Scott, I got a question
Sure.
about, on your computer, on your laptop, you get the same exact thing, correct?
Yeah. Mhm.
On your Google Photos, right? So is it easier? I mean, to me, it's bigger, so it's easier.
Right,
Everything
right.
I do on that, is that where you should do all your changes and deleting? And then it will then, of course, show up on your phone?
Well, it'll show up on your phone. Here's one thing to think about though. Google will, if you're doing the automatic backup and sync,
Right.
every time you open up that app on your phone, Google's going to start going through and backing up whatever is on the phone. So if you delete it on your desktop app, if you're on your desktop and you're deleting it from there, but not from your phone, the next time Google goes through your photo library, it's going to back up that photo again. So if you're really wanting to get
Oh.
rid of it, you want to get it off your phone too.
You have to do both then?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought
Yeah.
maybe one-stop shopping.
Yeah. I know that's the one drag about it. There's a price to pay for having that automatic backup. It's a small price, but if you do that automatic backup, you're assured that you're even if you delete the photo from your phone, if you want to keep it in the cloud, it'll stay there. But if you don't want it at all, you've got to do it in both places to make sure that you don't
Okay.
keep seeing it crop up time and time again.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Yeah. Other questions? One other thing I can show you, since you brought that up, Mary, is if you've got photos on your desktop, say things that you've taken with a digital camera that you want to add to your collection, you can go into your account. If you open up on the desktop, here is where you get all the Google apps.
Right.
So I go in here, there's my photos account. Here's everything I've got backed up. And let's say there's something on my desktop that I want to add in there. So here is a photo that I took the other day. Actually, I think it was yesterday. I've been taking a lot of pictures of these cicadas just because they're very interesting to me. All I need to do, well, I've got two options. I can hit upload and go into my computer, and I can do it that way. I can go to do a download, backup, and sync option that will back up from my Mac. So any photos I have on here will back up too. I think this is relatively new. But you can set it up to automatically back on anything that you've got on your actual desktop or laptop computer as well. I'm not going to do that because I have so many things on here. It'd be just too much, but I can just simply drag and drop if I want a photo in. And it's now in my collection. So you have that option as well. And it may take a few minutes for it to show up, but it is downloading into the account. So there are some options there too if you want to set up the automatic backup for your computer, for your desktop as well. And here is where you see your account. And if you decide to delete a photo, say I decide I want to delete this, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to hit trash. I'll move it to my trash. And if I want to get it out of the trash completely, it's going to stay in my trash bin for 60 days. And as long as it's still in that trash bin, it's going to be taking up your space allowance. So all of this is still in my account. So it's still, say I've got that 15 gigabyte limit that I'm using. It's all still taking up some of that space. So I can let it sit there, thinking that maybe I'm going to change my mind in the next 2 months and I'll want to save one of these. Say I want to do that. I can click on this and you'll see up here, it's not real legible, but it says restore. I can click restore and it will go back into my main account or my main library there. But if I decide that the rest of these I'm willing to let go of, I can go up here to empty trash and get rid of them right away. And they're gone. And there I've saved up the space that they were taking up.
Question, Scott.
Yeah.
On my Gmail and also on the photos, there's an archive. What is actually archive and how do you access it?
So the archive tends to be things that you've decided that you don't really want to look at when you call up your account like this. When you open up your account, you're going to see your entire library. But say there's something you just really don't want to look at. Like here's a photo from my wedding, right? I can archive that so that it will not show up when I open up this library, but it will be in the archive if I want to go there. So, a way to think about it, I always try to come up with physical analogies for this. This would be like you have a bunch of photos displayed around your house in frames sitting around. One of them you just are tired of looking at, you're going to put away. So you just put this in a storage box and tuck it in the attic or the basement or something like that. So you still have it, you're just not looking at it. Yeah. Yeah. And as you can see here, it's backing up videos too. My wife is not gonna love me, but this is her trying to train a dog.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, so that photo that you deleted is still on your phone though, right?
Yeah, it is because it's stored in my phone's hard drive,
Right.
so to
Okay.
speak. And so, yeah, it would back up again. So I would
Right,
have to
not-
delete those completely from my phone to make sure they don't show up again.
Right,
next
even
time I
though you
open it.
emptied it out of the trash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody has any questions. If I got one more on, like, if you were going to say, make a canvas print out of one of these,
Sure.
can you maybe quickly go through that?
Sure. You can do that directly from here. When all else fails, when you can't find what you're wanting to do, there are different things here, and you can do quite a bit with which I'll go through in Google Photos Part 2 in terms of editing, sharing, things like that. But if you just want to print, here, when you see these dots here, sometimes you'll see this applies across the board to all kinds of apps. But whenever you see either dots like this horizontally or vertically, it's more options. You click on that, and here is where you can just order prints, just plain old prints. But you mentioned, Mary, a canvas print.
Mhm.
Click on that, and you can do it right here from the app. And I can go up to, I think the largest size they give is 16 by 20. But it even shows you the prices, and from there you gives you some other options about the siding for the print, and then you can just check out and give your shipping information and so forth, and it's all set for you.
Okay, but what if you didn't want to pay the $44.99? There's all those other options out there, you know, they got a sale. And it's
Yeah.
a different program. How do you drag it to that? Is it-
So you'd probably just want to download it to your desktop and then upload it to one of those other services.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
So,
That-
so
okay.
like, I know you can do that with Shutterfly or Snapfish or something like that. So you'd probably want to try that.
Okay. All right,
What-
thank you.
Yeah. One other thing, just that is kind of fun, is you can see it in 3D too. It gives you that option. So yeah. Okay. Okay. There you go. So, and Kathleen was wondering about that, turning it off. I'll open my phone up again just to go over that one more time. It is just a matter of turning off the automatic backup and sync. Okay, so if I open up my phone and I want to go into my account,
Where do you go into your account?
well, I just open up the app on my phone. And then I'll go up here to
Open up
to
the
this-
app. What app?
the Google
Right.
Photos app.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I'll go up here to the initial right here, which is where I get into my account in the app. And I'll go down to Google settings, and I've got this automatically backing up and syncing. If I want to turn that off, I can do it like that. And then when I open up my account again, or when I shouldn't say when I open up my account, when I go to look at any photos, I can upload them individually.
And where
You'll
do you-
notice here this little cloud,
Okay.
this little cloud symbol here. If you do that, it will upload. But that's the only thing that will upload. So you won't be uploading everything that's sitting on your phone.
Okay, and you won't be uploading them 3 or 4 times.
Right, right, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Other questions? No? Okay.
Can't think of anything right now.
All right.
I will as soon as we hang up.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Mary, the nice thing about this class is we have it every week, as well as the Google Photos part too. So you're always welcome to come back and do a review. So,
Oh, good. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right.
My question, the dog that was training in the video, is it the same dog that you have photographed elsewhere, or do you have two different dogs?
That is a friend's dog. So yeah, that was what we were visiting some friends.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And so the
Yeah.
white dog is yours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is the
White-
white dog, what breed is he or she?
It's a mix. Well, actually, this is not my dog either. My dog is here. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not sharing my screen. So,
Oh,
that's my dog.
how sweet.
Yeah. Her name's Maggie. And she is 11 years old.
And has gorgeous blue eyes.
Yeah, she's a sweetie. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry, Scott. I did think of something while you guys were
Sure.
talking about dogs.
Sure.
So you uploaded that photo, which was easy. Okay, now where is it?
So it will probably end up once I upload it. Let me see, which one was it that I did. Trying to remember which
yeah,
photo I
yeah,
uploaded.
yeah.
But it would fall in. You can see here that these are all by date.
Right.
So it's gonna fall into the date. So when it's backed up, okay, here's the one I think I did just back up. And so, or a little while ago, I backed this one up. And so I took this on May 31st. And so it falls into that date. So once you do upload that, what it's doing, and I give a lot more detail on this in that follow-up class.
Okay.
But what it's doing here, you see this info.
Correct. Yeah.
That is information. It's called metadata. All of this here, but this is what gets recorded in a digital photo when you take it.
Okay.
And it is recording the date that I took the photo.
Okay.
So that's how it knows where to put it when it gets backed up. Yeah.
That's kind of the default setting. Most times you take a photograph and it just it's by date. The computer or your phone sorts them by date.
Right. That's the one advantage of digital photography is that it records all that for you.
So when you uploaded it, it would have gone back to the original date. I guess I kind of got confused.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
exactly. Okay. So if I uploaded this today, when I open up my account, it's still going to be under the date that I took it. Okay. So what's happening is Google is reading that data that's recorded in the photo and sorting it that way, if that makes sense. So it is, as this photo was uploaded, Google read, okay, this was taken on May 31st. So I'm going to put it in this May 31st slot.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. I'll be looking for your updated classes.
Okay. That sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks for being here. And we'll just tell you a little bit. I'll go over the key takeaways again. You can set this up to automatically back up photos, or you can do it individually. Anything sitting on your smartphone or tablet. You can view your library on any mobile device. in which you have the app. You can now set it up to back up anything you have on your desktop or laptop computer as well. And you can drag and drop individual photos from your desktop into your Google Photos account as well. And just to give you an idea of what we talk about in the second part of this class, we talk about how the app sorts and categorizes your photos automatically for you so that you don't have to spend a whole lot of time categorizing them yourself. You can share photos directly from the app. We'll walk through doing that and how to create and share your own albums. If you want to set up specific albums, say from a vacation or a family gathering or something like that. And just to give you a heads up on some other classes related to Google Apps, we have a class coming up today on Google Docs and just some of the basics of using that. Google Duo is a new free video calling app. We have a class on that, and then just some tips and tricks about Gmail if you're using Gmail. And my upcoming classes later today, I have one on making a photographic slideshow with music. And Google is one place where you can do that. So I'll walk through some options there. And I also have a class later this afternoon on how to take a great selfie. And this might be appropriate given that I think it is this month that National Selfie Day comes up. I can't remember the exact date, but there is a National Selfie Day. So, and when you book a class, it is very easy to invite a friend to join you. We've got that all set up for you. You just click where it says click here, and you can invite that friend via Facebook or WhatsApp or an email. And you also will be getting class notes with the key takeaways and a few additional links that you can follow to get more data on Google Photos. You are also able to recommend the class if you would like to other people via Facebook or email. We'll have some other class suggestions for you, a link to the full schedule so you can sign up for whatever classes you'd like, and our feedback form. And the feedback form has a 5-star rating system. So you can give the class as many stars as you want, or as few stars as you want, depending on how you felt about it. We would love to know anything that you think might improve the class. So please feel free to add comments and let us know how the class worked for you. And lastly, we have a section here on how to or that allows you to recommend other classes. If you'd like to learn something and you don't see us offering a class on it, let us know, and chances are we'll have that up before you know it. And finally, if you are interested in hosting an interest group on Get Set Up, we have many interest groups where members of the community just get together and talk about a shared hobby, shared topic of interest. We have interest groups on gardening, on movies, on all sorts of things, TV shows. And you just need to email us at help@getsetup.io to do that, or you can go to our website, and there is a place right on the Get Set Up homepage where you can set that up. All you need to do is hit apply to host a session at the top, and it'll walk you through just letting us know what it is you'd like to host. You can suggest a new class by emailing us, not just doing it on the feedback form. We do a lot of partnerships with various organizations, including the YMCA, senior living communities. So if you know of a organization, maybe you're a member of that organization, and you think there might be some possibilities for us to partner with that group to deliver classes to a specific population, let us know. And again, if you'd like a recording of this class, just drop us a line at help@getsetup.io and ask for it, and we'll get it sent to you. So thank you for joining me today, and hope to see you all again at another class real soon. Okay.
All right.
Take care,
Thank you, Scott.
everybody. Okay, you bet. Take care now. Bye-bye.